What is going on, guys? It's your boy Sympathics, and we're here for a event recap that just happened for the major qualifier for Columbus, the NA major happening in April for CS:GO. So basically, the gameplay behind me talking is a just a death match. I kind of like the first 5 minutes, and I just went with the rest, and yeah. It's not that good, but whatever. It's not really about the gameplay. We're here to talk about what happened this past weekend. So, day one happened, and the NA hopes were kind of low. I'm going to be honest. Because of the pretty big upset that happened to Liquid. So the day started off with Liquid playing Hellraisers. I'm pretty sure that was the first match of the day, and Hellraisers beat them 22 to 20 on Dust 2. It was a pretty back and forth game, but I just couldn't see Liquid getting into that game, and that was probably the one of the biggest upsets on day one, I'd say. And then we had Mo Sports play YP, and YP got railed 16 to 1 on the cobblestone, kind of expected. And Flipside played Selfless on Inferno, beat them 16-13. And then on Dust 2, Gamers 2 played Tempo Storm, and the Frenchmen beat them 16-13, which was a super close match. I actually thought that Tempo Storm could beat G2, and that they were the only team in their group that could really contend with G2. And I was kind of right, I guess, but G2 cruised anyway, so 16-13. In the next game, it was Liquid versus YP, so both losers playing the losers match. The loser went home, and Liquid beat them on Overpass 16 to 2. So, GG's. Or no, yeah, the loser would go home in that game. So, the next match to end the night was Mo Sports versus Hellraisers in the winners match. So basically, if Liquid would have beaten Hellraisers, then they would have been playing Mo Sports the last game of the day, and yeah, we wouldn't have seen what we've seen basically. So Mo Sports ended up going to overtime with Hellraisers on Mirage, and ended up beating them 19 to 15. So then we move into day two, which was Saturday, and the day started off with a pretty crazy game. And I'm going to say upset because a lot of people already know about this, you know what I mean? So, okay, so these games are all over the place actually. I'm looking on the website, HLTV, and yeah, they're kind of all over the place. So I don't know if it's like the starting game or whatever, but yeah, we're going to go right into it anyway. So, Vex ended up playing SK on Train, and then Vex and beat SK. So that would mean that SK would drop to the losers game, and yeah, you guys will never guess what happened in the game. So Saturday, I'd consider upset city. There was a lot of upsets. There was a lot of really close games. So CLG Counter Logic Gaming ended up coming in as probably the number one North American team, I'd say, besides Luminosity. And like coming into this tournament, they were probably the number one North American team to qualify. So they ended up playing Splice, and Splice beat them 16 to 14 on Cash. And then Renegades ended up playing Dignitas on Inferno, and Renegades beat Dignitas. And the next game is a cringeworthy game. It was pretty hard to watch, to be completely honest. Cloud9 got absolutely wrecked by Gambit. Like, I think it was a 13-2 or a 12-3 half for Gambit. And at that point, everybody kind of figured it was over. So, another match during that day was Selfless versus Tempo Storm. And Tempo Storm beat them 16 to 4 on Inferno. stating their claim as one of the best Brazilian teams. And then Gamers 2 played Flipside to qualify. So that was the match to qualify for the major. And G2 beat them 16 to 14 on Inferno. And then we move on to CLG versus SK on Overpass. This was a losers match, so winner moved on to the major. Or sorry, loser went home and winner would move on to play a best of 3 against the loser of Vexed Splice, I'm pretty sure. So CLG ended up beating SK 16-13. They were off to a huge lead in the beginning, and then SK crawled back, but CLG reeled it in and ended up closing that game. Next game, Splice played Vexed to qualify, which was kind of an unexpected turn of events for everybody. So they ended up, Splice beat Vexed 16 to 7 on Mirage to qualify for the major. It was a pretty commanding win for them. It was pretty much destruction for Splice. And then we move on to a game that was a pretty big upset, I'd say. Cloud9 beats Dignitas on cash after getting wrecked by Gambit 16-13. And they had a 12-3 CT side, and then they went on the terrorist side, and they got wrecked. I mean, I'm pretty sure they won the pistol, which pretty much saved them to win the game, but I mean, it was very close. Then Gambit played Renegades to qualify for the major, and Gambit beat them 16 to 11 on Train. So then we move on to the last day of this qualifier tournament, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward this day. I think everybody that you expected to win won, and yeah, I mean, it was great games all around. So Hellraisers played, Liquid played Hellraisers and beat them 2-1 map count, and they played on, here, let's see the maps here. So they played on Cash, and Liquid won 16 to 4, I believe, and then, or no, maybe that's, yeah. So Liquid won Cash 16 to 4, and then Hellraisers won Overpass 16 to 7, and then the Dust 2 went all 30 rounds, and Liquid actually won that. Hellraisers choked big time in that series. I think they were up, I'd like to say 13 to 9 or 10, and Liquid brought it back. So it's great games by them. And then we move on to the next game to qualify, and this was kind of unexpected. Flipside 2-0'd Tempo Storm to qualify for the tournament. So congratulations to them. They definitely deserve it. They played unbelievable. So, you know, congratulations to them. Next series, CLG actually beat Vex 2-1 to qualify. It was looking grim for them, but they ended up pulling it through and winning. Was Dust 2, and it was actually insanely close. CLG ended up edging that game 16-13, and then the next game was just, it was brutal. Vex beat CLG 16-3 on Cobblestone, and then CLG ends up beating Vex 16-13 on Train. So, and then for the final qualification game, we had Cloud9 qualifying over Renegades. This was an insane game. It was so close, back and forth, and insane series. Both games 16-14 wins for Cloud9, and both games that they probably should have lost. But that does it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you next time. Peace.